Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about compost. These are some of the very simple methods of composting that you can put in place to help you reduce your food waste. If you're thinking of starting a garden or want to become more self-sufficient, then a compost is one of the first infrastructures you should start. Having a compost will ensure that food waste is allowed to properly biodegrade outside of a landfill. If you have a green thumb, then it's an amazing way to create a closed-loop system and add some vital nutrients back to your soil. Hot compost is one of the most common and probably what you think of when you hear the word compost. This can be a black bin, like seen in this video. It can also be a wire cage, a wooden structure, or just a pile you started somewhere in your yard. The most important thing with hot composting is that you keep adding an even mixture of carbon and nitrogen. Nitrogen is considered green items, like your household food waste or lawn clippings. Carbon is brown items, like leaves, straw, sticks, dirt, sawdust, cardboard, and paper. Your hot compost should be kept moist or damp, but not soggy. If you squeeze a handful and water drips out, then it's too wet. It should be kept between the temperatures of 54 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius. If your compost starts dipping below the 54-degree mark, then this is when you'll want to turn it or fluff it with a pitchfork to incorporate more oxygen. In the fall and winter months, when the trees are shedding their leaves, you may find you have a higher amount of carbon available to you than nitrogen. This is when it's a good idea to start thinking of growing leaf mold instead of adding the leaves to your hot bin. A leaf bin is the easiest of all three methods I'm mentioning today. It involves piling up fallen leaves in a bag or a bin. In this video, I'm using panels from my dog's puppy pen, then keeping them damp and leaving them be. If you'd like to speed up the process, you can turn or fluff the leaves once a month to incorporate oxygen. Leaf mold doesn't have a lot of nutritional value for your garden, but it makes an amazing mulch and will help your soil retain moisture in the hot summer months. Keep in mind, if you have the ability to leave the leaves alone, then do that instead. Leaves in the fall become home to all sorts of beneficial insects and even cocoons for butterflies and moths. But in my case, my strata was raking up the leaves to dispose of them, so I started a leaf bin to avoid them going to waste. Vermiculture, or worm compost, is a method of composting that uses worms instead of heat to break down matter. This produces a dark matter similar to soil that's called worm castings. That's right, it's poop. Worm castings are very useful because they can be added right to your soil without fear of burning the roots of any of your plants. You'll need worms, so do your research and find a variety that's best suited to your area. You'll want a worm that eats more than your average dew worm. I personally use red wigglers. The worm's ideal processing temp is 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. Some worms can handle it down to temps of 10 degrees Celsius, but any colder and you'll want to start thinking about bringing your bin inside for the winter. But don't worry, the bin doesn't stink. In most cases, the worms will eat the produce before it even has a chance to mold. You'll also need a worm bin, store-bought or homemade, bedding material for the worms like coconut fiber or soil, and the bin needs to be kept moist, similar to your hot compost. However, the key difference between a vermicompost and a hot compost is that you will not want to add meat, dairy, or oily substances, as this can attract unwanted pests that will harm your bin. My red wigglers can break down a pound of organic waste in a 24-hour period. Don't worry about your worm bin becoming overpopulated because worms have a naturally ability to regulate their colony size to the space available. So there you have it, 3 forms of composting that you can implement tomorrow. If you don't think you have the room or the time to start a compost, then you can look into local initiatives. Some places to check are community gardens, community composts run by farms, or businesses that pick up organic waste. My town implemented curbside compost in 2017, but I still choose to keep a backyard compost for the benefit of my garden. So tell me, which method is the best for your living arrangements? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. You don't realize for a new YouTuber how much this means to me every time I see a notification pop into my inbox. So thank you all for the encouragement, and I hope to have another video out for you soon.